Have you ever considered how climate change might specifically impact the cities we live in? One city that is feeling the heat, quite literally, is Rio de Janeiro. According to the Urban Climate Change Research Network, over the next 5 years, Rio is expected to undergo an average temperature increase of 1 degree Celsius. Now that might not sound like much, but let's put it into perspective. This increase will make it the hottest summer in years for the residents of Rio. But the rising temperature is not the only concern. The sea levels in the region are also projected to ascend by up to 14 centimeters. That's a whole centimeter more than in Buenos Aires and Lima. So, what does this mean for the people of Rio? Well, the direct impact of these climatic changes on their health is alarming. We're talking about a surge in respiratory and cardiovascular diseases, gastroenteritis, and infectious diseases like dengue and leptospirosis. But the story doesn't end there. Rio is not just another city on the climate change hit list. It's considered the most vulnerable city to these changes in all of Latin America. Picture this: the city of Rio is rated as 1 on the Vulnerability Index. This means it stands a high chance of being severely affected by these climate transformations. And it's not just about Rio. Other cities at high environmental risk in the state of Rio de Janeiro include Angra dos Reis, Paraty, Teresópolis, and Petrópolis. So it's clear, climate change is not a distant threat, but a reality that's already affecting cities like Rio de Janeiro. But what makes Rio more susceptible to the impacts of climate change than other cities? The answer lies in the city's urbanization process and public policies. You see, urban heat islands, a phenomenon where cities are noticeably warmer than their surrounding rural areas, are a significant issue in Rio. This effect is amplified by the disorganized construction of houses on sprawling hillsides, which lack proper planning and basic sanitation. Moreover, water shortages and floods are common issues that reveal the city's inadequate infrastructure. A massive population living in low-income communities, often in areas prone to landslides and flooding, further complicates matters. Without basic amenities, these communities are highly vulnerable to the health risks associated with climate change. But it's not just about the physical infrastructure. The lack of effective public policies to mitigate these issues is also a key factor. The city needs to prioritize sustainable urban planning, which includes creating green spaces to reduce the urban heat island effect, improving waste management, and ensuring access to clean water for all its residents. As we can see, the challenges faced by Rio are not just about the changing climate, but also about how the city has grown and continues to grow. The path to a sustainable future lies in our ability to rethink our urban environments and policies. So, what can we do to prevent environmental catastrophes in our cities? We can start by listening to the experts. They recommend governments adopt public policies that prioritize the environment. But it's not all up to the government. As a society, we also have a role to play. We can make choices that lessen our impact on the environment, like choosing public transportation over private vehicles, or making conscious efforts to avoid deforestation. And let's not forget, Rio isn't alone in this fight. Other cities in the state of Rio de Janeiro, such as Angra dos Reis, Paraty, Teresópolis, and Petrópolis, are also at high environmental risk. These cities, like many others around the globe, will need to adapt and take action to mitigate the impacts of climate change. Remember, the choices we make today will shape the world of tomorrow. The fight against climate change begins with us. Together we can make a difference and protect our cities for future generations.